Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Got Tom Taormina on the program with Apollo Business Solutions. Want to say real quickly, his website is oresonance.com. That's ORESONANCE.com. He is one of those guys with the right stuff. He was part of that great space program. And whenever I think of that movie, I think of Tom. He was part of that group that really celebrated America's greatness at a time where we could do that, and that was a cool thing. And now it's not only is it not vogue, it's almost prohibited. And so, and that's really, I think, part of the reason why America is so far behind in so many different ways. Tom,
absolutely. Top of the morning to you, Kevin.
Glad to have you on. Why don't you talk a little bit? You know, I keep seeing these credentials, and I've never asked you about them after all these interviews. What are CMC, CMQ, and OE?
CMC is Certified Management Consultant. We go before a peer review board to make sure we're with the real deal when we're dealing with our clients. And CMQ-OE is Certified Manager of Quality and Organizational Excellence. It's the only professional certification for quality engineers.
Okay, very interesting, very interesting. And speaking of interesting, I thought your topic today was very timely as well. Why don't you present that for us to get a conversation started?
Well, thank you. This all started last week when I received a letter from my insurance company stating that I was now covered for domestic terrorism, which had previously been excluded from my policy. And it was at no additional premium. And for a moment, I felt really safe, I think. I mean, notwithstanding the fact that I live in northern Nevada, hundreds of miles from Area 51, the sense of security about my business surviving jihad had just grown exponentially, I think.
Yeah, you felt secure in a weird sort of a way.
Well, the weirdness was that the news of the weekend is the fact that there was this incident traceable to ISIS in Garland, Texas, where Draw Muhammad competition became the target of some radical Islamists. So this dichotomy has been bothering me all weekend as to whether or not I feel that my consulting business, which deals with continual process improvement, quality as a profit center, the Apollo business model, is really threatened by radical Islam.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. And by the way, what type of insurance coverage are we talking about?
I think it was our general liability insurance.
General liability insurance. It'd be interesting to look into more details of how much coverage that is and what that entails. That's really weird, and I guess that's just indicating a whole new future for all of us, isn't it?
It is, and I think, I don't mean to diminish the threat of radical Islam. I believe that it absolutely is the single greatest global issue we face, because any religion that has fundamental teachings say that every other belief has to be eradicated begs serious scrutiny. I don't know how anyone could minimize that.
And you were talking about your distance from Area 51. I do think more realistically, your distance from the Elon Musk's battery plant is more, I think, foreboding from a terrorist perspective than Area 51.
Well,
in terms of being attractive.
That's only 10 miles away. I agree, but it's still coming out of the ground. So, in this snapshot of time, I'm still feeling safe.
Well, embrace that. And when you stop feeling safe, start feeling start saying the Serenity Prayer, and just embrace your powerlessness. I live in the energy capital of the United States, so and ISIS has suffered significantly because of Houston, Texas, significantly. So I wonder about that myself. Them taking out some of our energy capabilities would add huge amount of money to their efforts.
In the 33 years I lived in the Houston area, I felt we were always a target for any kind of terrorism. But again, let's go back to the fundamental reasons for it. Who are the terrorists? They're anti-establishment. They're hateful. They're vengeful. Sometimes they're just individual crazy people. Sometimes they're part of cults. But thinking back to when I went to the University of Houston, we were inculcated with the Communist Manifesto. Everybody was worried about it, or they were carrying Chairman Mao signs. And 50 years later, the communists have not taken over Houston, as far as I know.
No, they're working on it still, but they haven't done it. They haven't done it. So, like from a practical perspective, what do you think about this going forward?
Well, I think every business owner, since that's the context of our conversations, every business owner should really give that topic consideration in their strategic planning. Do they make a product or provide a service that could be the target of radical Islam, ... any other extremist groups, and look at how they protect themselves. Obviously, companies that are involved in international commerce, those that produce energy products or weapons, need to be considerate of that. But I think let's just not promulgate the fear. Let's use this information as valuable business planning tools.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think so. And knowing the intuitive thinker that you are, I'm sure you're helping to figure out strategies. In fact, it could become a niche market, I would think.
Well, it's a niche market, but my 11th book is called Foreseeable Risk. And I wrote that for business leaders in the context of me being an expert witness. In the 11 or 12 years I've been working on products liability and organizational negligence litigation, I've seen some real horror, and the horror is from within. It's companies that do not recognize how they are promulgating products and services that have a significant impact on the safety of the users. So the two things really go hand in hand, I believe.
Very interesting. So talk a little bit, you mentioned the fact that communism really never did get the traction that they thought they would. And if Houston was bad, imagine UT Austin and Berkeley and everywhere else, although it did get some traction in Berkeley. But anyway, but not nearly as successful as what the Islamic extremist terrorists have been. And the role of the Internet, I think, has been pretty profound. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, it has been profound. It gives us more information than we can possibly use, even those of us who have a degree of common sense. But think of what communism has resulted in our country, and that's socialism. And the socialism has destroyed our value system, and it's making personal accountability just a remnant of what it might have been. So the threat of radical Islam is greater, number one, because of the Internet and the access to information, but also, number two, the rank and file, if you will, just walk around in a malaise, in a fog of, gee, the country's going to take care of me. I really don't need to worry about this stuff.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I agree with that, and I appreciate that perspective, and I think people really do need to be mindful of this, and that's why I encourage people to check out your website. Go ahead and give that one more time before I let you go.
Resonance. It's an abbreviation of organizationalresonance.com. Stop by and visit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I looked at, you gave a great information summary that I hope you go ahead and put that over there at your priceofbusiness.com page. I'd love to see it posted over there, and I think we'd like to get it over at usdailyreview.com because I think it's really timely, and I appreciate it, Tom.
Please do. You have full license to put it where you want it.
Well, we will then. Tom Taormina does a great job always. Resonance, that's ORESONANCE.com, and always delighted to have you on. Look forward to talking to you again, sir.
Thanks, Kevin.
Have a great rest of your day.
You too.
When we come back, we're going to have much more for you. I do want to remind you, though, that best content here shows up over there at usdailyreview.com, and you're listening to The Price of Business.